and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com.
For tuning into the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Dory. I'm here with Matt, and we invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions available on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel Monday through Friday between 10 a.m. and noon each week. And additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And we'll begin with a story from the Springfield News Leader. Audit of Springfield City Boards finds 3 in violation of city charter. And this is a story by Marta Mees, and a couple of key points here. An audit of 23 Springfield City Boards and Commissions found 3 to be non-compliant with city charter. The audit recommended a voter-approved charter amendment to fix an operational issue with the Board of Public Utilities. Several boards were identified as operationally deficit or defunct, including the Traffic Advisory Board. For the first time in decades, the boards and commissions that oversee and advise various functions of Springfield city government have undergone review. While overall the board system was found to be functional and within the framework established in the Springfield City Charter, some corrections are required and other improvements recommended. An audit of the city's boards and commissions was performed over several months starting in May after Mayor Jeff Schrag referred the matter to the Plans and Policies Committee in March. That referral came after the Citizens Advisory Board, established to evaluate use of the Spring Forward SGF sales tax, was found to be in violation of several charter provisions. The results of the audit, completed by City Clerk Anita Cotter and Assistant City Attorney Nick Woodman, were presented to the committee on Tuesday, August 18th. Of the total 23 boards reviewed, 16 were found to be fully compliant with no additional recommendations. 3 were found to be explicitly non-compliant. The Tax Increment Financing Commission was determined to fall outside of the audit scope due to its varying membership based on specific projects. And we see a picture of the meeting last night. Springfield Assistant City Attorney Nick Woodman was presenting findings of the audit to the Plans and Policies Committee. Again, that was held last night. He's standing in front of a large board with some data. Cotter and Woodman reviewed boards that strictly fell under the city's purview for their alignment with governing provisions of the city charter, such as composition, membership qualifications, and terms of service. Nonprofit boards and separate political subdivision boards, such as the Springfield Greene County Library Board or the Visit Springfield Board of Directors, were not subject to the audit, even though the city plays a role in member appointments. The review also did not look at how effective the boards were or what their day-to-day operations were. Next byline reads, non-compliant boards. 3 boards were found to be in violation of the city's typical rules for boards and commissions. The Police Civilian Review Board, an ordinance authorizing this board, allows a 7-member board, which is in conflict with the charter's requirement of 9 members. The governing authority of this board is also not codified in an ordinance, which is best practice. Springfield Greene County Environmental Advisory Board. As an interlocal board, this board is allowed to have 12 members, 6 appointed by Springfield City Council, 6 appointed by Greene County Commission. However, currently, a city employee is serving on the board as a county-appointed member. The charter prohibits board members from holding a lucrative position in city government. Fixing this simply requires that member to resign. Building Trades Examination and Certification Board. This board is currently allowed to have 11 members instead of the charter required 9 members. Cotter also noted it currently has stringent requirements for specific trade qualifications, which have posed challenges in filling vacancies. Beyond correcting the number of members, she recommended further reviewing this structure. Councilman Abe McGull, who chairs the Plans and Policies Committee, directed city staff to bring recommendations for how to correct these to the committee as the immediate priority. Once the committee votes on a recommendation, it'll head to the full council for consideration. Next byline, City Utilities Board correction. While the Board of Public Utilities is established under its own section of the charter and therefore has a unique makeup that does not fall under the general provisions, the audit did find room for improvement. Currently, the charter notes the presence of 5 out of the total 11 members constitutes a quorum. Woodman noted this poses operational issues where technically a quorum could be established at 2 separate meetings at the same time, since a quorum does not require a majority of members to be present. He explained that when the question to add 2 members to the board was posed to voters in 1989, expanding the board from 9 to 11 members, the ballot language did not address a need to increase the quorum as well. To correct this, Woodman and Cotter are recommending a charter amendment be posed to voters to increase the quorum requirement from 5 members to 6 because the city charter acts as the city's constitution. Any changes to it require voter approval. Next byline, some boards found to likely be defunct. The board also found that 3 boards, while compliant, are no longer operating the way they were intended. One of these is the Mayor's Commission on Human Rights and Community Relations, which Council is already working to revamp, while the Commission's ability to meaningfully investigate discrimination complaints has been diminished. However, 2 other boards were found to be operationally deficit: the Traffic Advisory Board and the Springfield Cable Television Advisory Commission. The Cable Commission has no active members and has not met in recent history, but was established when the city had a franchising agreement with cable companies and therefore could field complaints. Because of regulatory changes since then, Cotter and Woodman found the commission is essentially defunct and, if no continued purpose is identified, should be dissolved. The Traffic Board, too, has not met for years, though technically has some members appointed to it. Cotter said that previously the board's role was to hear concerns regarding traffic flow and road infrastructure needs, but with the Traffic Management Center and advancing technology, that work has become unnecessary. She noted that the board's format or scope could be adjusted to meet modern needs or be formally dissolved if it is found to not be needed. Other recommendations include codification, reference document. In total, 5 boards were identified to be governed by a resolution or a special ordinance instead of being recorded in city code, as is best practice, and those include the Citizens Advisory Board, Tree City USA Citizen Advisory Committee, Enhanced Enterprise Zone Board and Citizens Advisory Committee for Community Development. From a staff perspective, that makes it a little bit more difficult to determine what provisions apply to the board because you can't just go look in the city code and see what provisions apply, said Woodman. Also, to the public, it's difficult to figure out what the requirements are that apply to Tree City, USA, because it's in a resolution that was adopted in the 1990s or something like that. Kozler also highlighted a recommendation to review the enhanced qualification requirements for the Landmarks Board. While the board is compliant, she said it's often been hard to fill those more specialized seats. She's also shared plans for a board reference document that would act as a central resource for all things related to boards and commissions. It would include membership requirements, references to specific sections of code, and charter and audit findings. Quote, I would recommend that we don't wait another 29 years to do an audit of our boards and commissions, Cotter said. So we're hoping that a document like this, you'll see everything that's tied to that particular board in that reference document. That's kind of the goal, is to prevent some of these things from happening again.
Springfield Daily Citizen, video of Stone County shooter has been viewed 3 million times. Highway Patrol says it shouldn't have been released. Harrowing body cam footage surfaced online August 14th, chronicling the massive law enforcement response to a February shooter in rural Stone County that ended with one deputy killed, 2 others injured, and subsequent killed. Shared by the YouTube channel Midwest Safety, the 19-minute compilation that also includes snippets of written reports in the case has also been viewed more than 3 million times. But the Missouri State Highway Patrol, which released the materials to the YouTube channel operators following an open records request, now says the videos and report should not have been made public. The records were released by the Missouri State Highway Patrol under the belief that they were legally eligible for disclosure. Lieutenant Eric Brown, Acting Director of Public Information and Education, told the Daily Citizen in an August 18th email. It was subsequently discovered that the investigation is ongoing. As a result, all records released to this investigation are currently closed. It should have never been released is, I guess, the next section. If it will advance. Hang on. Come on. On February 23rd, authorities say Richard Byrd shot and killed Christian County Deputy Gabriel Ramirez during a traffic stop near Highlandville. Byrd then fled to a wooded area in Stone County where more than 100 law enforcement officers descended. Byrd engaged those officers in a shootout in which Christian County Deputy Michael Hislop, I think, was killed, and 2 other deputies, Christian County Deputy Joshua Wallum and Webster County Deputy Austin Hall, I think. I forgot how they were called. Were injured but survived. The shootout ended with the officers killing Byrd. Christian County Sheriff Rod Cole described the investigation into Byrd's actions that night and the police response as all-encompassing, including the traffic stop and the shootout. Captain Mark Stanford with the Greene County Sheriff's Office is the lead investigator into the deadly encounter as part of the multi-jurisdiction agreement known as the Sheriff's Critical Incident Team that were Southwest Missouri Law Enforcement Agency partnered to investigate shootings involving deputies from another department. Deputy Joshua Beagle, spokesperson for GCSO, said August 17th, the Stone County prosecuting attorney's office is reviewing the department's report from the shootout and will make the final decision and announcement of their findings reached by phone on Monday. Stone County prosecutor Wesley Webster said parts of the investigation had been turned over to him to review whether any criminal charges should be filed in this case. Webster emphasized the case is still considered under investigation, and he said could not provide a timeline for when he might finish his review. Cold Christian County Sheriff said the Highway Patrol releasing the videos and photos now was a case of human error and the records division not doing its due diligence. It should have never been released, Cole said, but it's out there. What the law says under the Sunshine Law, which lays out Missouri's rules regarding open meetings and records, law enforcement is required to produce a basic incident report following a police response consisting of the date, time, and specific location, name of the victim, and immediate facts and circumstances surrounding the initial report of a crime or incident that is considered an open record with certain exceptions. The full investigative report, which would include the full written report and materials like video and photos, are closed records until the investigation becomes inactive according to the Sunshine Law. Curry, the hotline attorney for the Missouri Press Association, said he does not believe the Highway Patrol violated the law in releasing investigative materials to the YouTube channel. He said the agency likely has some discretion in determining when they feel a case is inactive. In my view, the Highway Patrol didn't do anything wrong in releasing the videos, Curry said. I think that's the end of that one, looks like.
Okay. From the Springfield News Leader, Greene County has a new sheriff for the first time in 18 years. A couple of key points. Jason Johnson has been appointed interim sheriff of Greene County, replacing Jim Arnott. Arnott resigned to become U.S. Marshal for the Western District of Missouri. Johnson plans to prioritize staff training, drug intervention, and acquiring body-worn cameras. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, Greene County has a new sheriff in town. Tuesday, August 18th, the Greene County Commission officially accepted Sheriff Jim Arnott's resignation and appointed Jason Johnson as the interim sheriff. Arnott recently received a confirmation vote from the U.S. Senate months after President Donald Trump nominated him to serve as U.S. Marshal for the Western District of Missouri. Arnott's became effective at 4 p.m. Tuesday, at which time Johnson is scheduled to be sworn in. The commission set out an application process shortly after Arnott's nomination was announced. Johnson was the only one to apply for the interim role. He's also served as the Greene County Sheriff's Office administrative captain since late 2024. However, he has been with the department in different capacities since 1998. As the commission accepted Arnott's resignation, which he presented with a joking, "I quit," the commissioners congratulated the longtime leader and thanked him for his service. Quote, "I'm just very impressed with the way you put the constituents first, the people first, your deputies first, with a heart for service, and just want to ensure that our community stays safe," said Commissioner John Russell. And we see a picture of interim Sheriff Jason Johnson making some remarks after he was appointed as interim sheriff. He's in, of course, full dress uniform, and was making some remarks. That meeting was held yesterday. Once the commission unanimously passed an order appointing Johnson as sheriff upon Arnott's resignation, Johnson's comments were interrupted by chants of protesters with the Immigrant Justice Collaborative, criticizing the Greene County Jail housing detainees held by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The group had also gathered outside prior to the meeting Tuesday morning, calling for an end to the contract. Presiding Commissioner Bob Dixon swiftly directed them to leave and told them disruption would not be tolerated. And the next picture we see is of the protesters outside the protesting outside with a sign in a couple of different shades of green. And this was before that Greene County meeting, which was held yesterday. The Greene County Jail has had a long-standing intergovernmental agreement with the U.S. Marshals to house federal detainees, receiving $100 per day per inmate. ICE was added as a rider on this contract in October of 2024, with the per diem cost remaining the same. The ICJ has been critical of the agreement, tracking an increase in the number of people without a criminal charge held for ICE in the jail, and arguing it acts as a monetary incentive to arrest, quote, people for being immigrants. Johnson, speaking with local news media following the commission meeting, said he plans to continue to honor the contract. He said while he is open to having dialogue with community groups regarding ICE detention, both he and Arnott said they have had numerous conversations with this group previously that have not resulted in any productive resolutions. Arnott told local news media he does not have any regrets regarding the contract and noted that the agreement was simply a way for the jail to be reimbursed, but under state law, they are required to accept federal detainees regardless. However, Greene County Jail is one of only 4 county detention facilities in the state to hold people for ICE. Addressing the disruption, Dixon stated at the end of the commission meeting that the approach was, quote, ineffective and divisive. While he noted that everyone was always welcome at commission meetings, he said discussion, not disruption, was a way to have an impact. And the next byline, Johnson sets plans for future. Johnson has a lot of experience with the Greene County Sheriff's Office and is a Springfield native. In taking on the top role, he said he is, quote, ready to get to work. He plans to lead the Greene County Sheriff's Office similarly to Arnott's approach, but also has key points for changes he's planning in the future. Johnson said he'll prioritize training for staff, focus on drug intervention efforts, and hopes to improve staffing. Among his top priorities are body-worn cameras. Johnson was the one to take on a 6-month-long study of AI-enabled body cameras late last year and said he's now hoping to find funding for the equipment. The use of body-worn cameras was a key topic during Arnott's final election as sheriff, when the longtime sheriff was challenged in the Republican primary and was against the use of them in private areas. While Johnson will serve in the interim role through the end of 2026, Greene County citizens will still have to elect their future sheriff. The race will be placed on the November 3rd ballot, with each political party's county central committee selecting a candidate to represent them. Johnson was already positioned to run when he applied for the role and said he had a meeting Tuesday night with the Republican Central Committee regarding his nomination. Johnson's campaign committee had already raised more than $100,000 as of July 15th, according to filings with the Missouri Ethics Commission. He said because of his lifelong ties to Springfield, the money raised is a testament to the trust the people he knows have in him as sheriff. Quote, I'm not a politician, I'm a lawman, Johnson said, noting fundraising efforts so far have only happened within his inner circle. For Arnott, who will stay on a week or two to help with the transition, especially as the county takes on its budget process, the change is a strange one. He's been Greene County Sheriff since 2008, but has spent most of his life with the department and witnessed the department's exponential growth throughout the years. Quote, this is my family. I grew up with all of them, Arnott said. And we see another picture of the meeting held yesterday, and we see Jim Arnott in a blue blazer and a cowboy hat. In taking on the role of U.S. Marshal, Arnott said his time in Greene County will directly translate into that new role, which he described as a federal sheriff. He said all his established relationships with the sheriffs in the region will also come in handy as he takes on the federal job. Even so, this will be the first time in nearly 20 years that he is not in an elected seat. Quote, I won't be able to say what I just want to say, to be quite honest. I'll work for the president. I've always been elected to something, and as an elected official, I can say whatever I want and have, Arnott said. But I won't be in a public role. I'll be in an operational role, and so that will be kind of a different thing. Not a bad thing. Before he fully moves on, Arnott will stay in Greene County for the next week or so to help with the transition, especially as the county begins its budgeting process. He said with the size of the agency, a lot of the job is much like running a business and taking on a CEO mentality. Johnson said this did not intimidate him, with Arnott noting he will always made sure to have a succession plan and to train Johnson for the role to be ready to take over. Whoever is elected in November will serve the remainder of Arnott's term through the end of 2028.
Some new potential businesses coming to Ozark. Chick-fil-A and Chipotle consider future locations in Ozark. Developers are eyeing South Ozark for future Chick-fil-A and Chipotle locations. Community Development Director Randall Whitman confirmed that both companies have expressed interest in building in the new Ozark Marketplace district. The plans are in review, he said. No permits have been issued for the projects. Chick-fil-A still is considering a future location at 1737 West Waverly Street, while Chipotle is looking at 1974 West Waverly Street, Whitman said. Ozark Mayor Currents and Alderman Jane Ann Hutchinson, Ward 2, briefly pointed out that the social media buzz around the restaurant during Monday, August 17th meetings promoting Whitman to comment that he probably got about 25 text messages today about the Chick-fil-A and Chipotle. We usually don't get too excited until the permits actually issued, because it's not uncommon for somebody to get right to the end and then wait to pull the permit, but they've applied, yes, he said during the meeting. The Board of Aldermen voted in April 2025 to establish the Ozark Marketplace as a community development district for a redevelopment plan and tax breaks to incentivize development on the property. Only Plaza Tire and Casey's were the first businesses to open on the site. Waffle House, Dutch Brothers Coffee, and McDonald's are also working to develop future locations in the Ozark Marketplace. That's the end of that one.
Okay.
To you, Dory, again.
All right, and we'll continue on with some business news here from the Springfield Business Journal. New owners have taken over longtime Springfield Flea Market, and we see a picture of two of the new owners, Teresa Lindsay and Larissa Unwin. They, along with their husbands, have opened Westside Collective, and they opened in late July. Now, we might remember it as Mike's Unique over at 3335 West Sunshine Street. And the article begins, a sprawling storefront in southwest Springfield, long known as a spot for antiques, flea market, and homemade goods, is under new ownership. Two couples, Larissa and James Unwin and Teresa and Mark Lindsay, now operate the Westside Collective Flea Market and Collectibles at 3335 West Sunshine Street. Their venture launched in late July. Quote, we named it that because it is a collective effort. It's all of us, the employees, the vendors, making it the best spot, providing the best product and price and friendliness and cleanliness, Larissa Unwin said. It's just a collective effort for all of us to succeed. The couples quickly formed Westside Collective LLC as part of a bid to take over the 38,000 square foot building, which was known as Mike's Unique Collectible and Antique Flea Market. The future of the space and the vendors housed in the market was up in the air following the mid-June death of owner Mike Cook, who ran Mike's Unique LLC. It was a very unfortunate situation, and we saw the love of this place, Unwin said. We ended up getting a new lease on the building, and we're fortunate enough that most all of the vendors decided to stay with us. She said the 208 continuing vendors were in limbo and a brief closure during the transition. Quote, they've been very supportive and patient because it's a process opening a new business, said Unwin. Without them, we wouldn't have been here. The couple said they did not want to see the storefront shuttered and signed a 3-year lease. They also acknowledged that customers may still refer to it as Mike's because it was known by that name for years. Teresa had managed the store for several years, and I'd known Mike in other work capacities for about 25 years, so there were relationships there, said Unwin, who was also a vendor in the space. Unwin said the one-time discount store located at Sunshine Street and West Bypass had ample parking, wide aisles, and good lighting. She said traffic to the area had only increased with the opening of restaurants. The new Target store, which opened its doors in March, according to past Springfield Business Journal reporting, and nearby housing. We're trying to make it the best place for people to come and spend time or seek out treasures because it's fun, she said. She said while the space is, quote, pretty full, new owners are looking at ways to reconfigure and better use the existing square footage. As part of the change, Unwin said they want to make the environment friendlier and the staff available to assist as needed. Currently, there are 9 employees. They're all very knowledgeable, helpful, and know the market. Most of them are vendors also, which is nice to have that vested interest, she said. We do want to increase customer service. Teresa Lindsay said the inventory at the flea market is vast, constantly changing, and includes dedicated floor space for furniture. There are fewer places to find and buy good used furniture, and we get some good quality items in here, she says. The flea market is open 9:30 to 5:30 Monday through Saturdays and 10 to 4 on Sunday. And also from the Springfield Business Journal, 3 area teachers have been named the Missouri Teacher of the Year semifinalists. 3 teachers from Southwest Missouri are in the running for the 2027 Missouri Teacher of the Year, according to the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. DESE recently released the list of 16 semifinalists, including educators from Branson, Neosho, and Ozark. Missouri's teachers continue to demonstrate remarkable dedication, creativity, and compassion in their classrooms, said Stacy Priest, Interim Commissioner of Education, in a news release. The semifinalists recognized embody the best of our profession, and we are grateful for the impact they make on students and communities across the state. DESE officials said the state's Teacher of the Year program was created to recognize teachers who make meaningful contributions to Missouri students and communities. The semifinalists from this area include Nicole Crocker, Agricultural Education at Branson High School, Vondra Miller, Reading, Neosho South Elementary, and Kristen McGauley, first grade at Ozark South Elementary. Others include Alize Chowning, Richmond, Heather Dunn, Missouri School for the Deaf, Trista Hans of Newburgh, Katie Huff, Raymore Peculiar, Amy Klein from Bayless, Kristen Logan Hollis of Kingston, Adriana Marble, Blue Springs, Jennifer Moore from Kirkwood, Sarah Munier, Rockwood, Sarah Newton, Valley Park, Sarah Steffens, Fort Osage, Tamara Turner, McLean, Ladue, and Bailey Womble, School of the Osage. The winner will be announced this fall and celebrated during a banquet in late October. The Missouri Teacher of the Year will represent the state at the national level. And MSU has identified a location for a future indoor practice facility. Parking lots just south of Grand Street may also be used for Bearfest Village Park. Constructing an indoor practice facility on Grand Street directly south of Plaster Stadium on land currently used for parking is part of Missouri State University's new master plan for athletic facilities. Top MSU officials presented artist renderings of the proposed project, which does not yet have a price tag estimate or timeline or details such as square footage, during the August 6th retreat at the Board of Governors. The plan would include shifting Bearfest Village Park, MSU's official tailgating zone for pregame alcohol, from core campus areas to the property south of Grand Street. MSU officials said if enrollment continues to grow and the projects happen on what is currently car park space, another parking garage may be needed. Patrick Ransdale, Director of Athletics, said the facility is part of developing the football program over the next 10 to 20 years. Not just football, all of our sports can use this facility, he says. If you put the proper netting in, everything from baseball to even golf can use this facility throughout the year, including band. I think we can have academic components utilize this space. Ransdale said about half the football programs in Conference USA and a growing number of high schools in the Ozarks have indoor practice facilities. Quote, I would guess over the next 10 years, everybody in the conference will have one. So at some point, we'll probably just need to keep pace, he said. He said if there is lighting during football practice, MSU moves the team to Nixa High School's Apex Activity Center. Ransdale said the proposed indoor facility in adjacent Bearfest Village Park and upgrades to Plaster Stadium were newer parts of the athletic master plan, with a series of more immediate changes that have been developed over the past year. Quote, "This is the pie in the sky over the next 10 to 20 years and something that'll help position us well into the future," he said during the retreat. "We're excited about it. We're pushing for it. We're having conversations about this every day, and we'll figure out a way to get it done." Matt Morris, Vice President for Administrative Services, said the master plan is only looking at the existing property the university owns south of Grand Street. He said MSU has honored a pact with the Phelps Grove neighborhood and no changes are expected. The agreement, updated over time, limits the encroachment of the university into the residential area. Quote, "We do not see ourselves going any further south by any means, as this plan shows," he said. And the next byline, fundraising key to projects. MSU hired Cannon Douglas Inc., based in New York with an office in St. Louis, to research options and help develop master plan expected to impact 20 athletic programs spread across multiple venues such as Forsyth Great Southern Bank Arena, Hammond Student Center, McDonald Arena, and Plaster Stadium. Earlier this year, the board agreed to pay the firm $1.4 million to design an initial phase of work at McDonald, which includes a new football team locker room in the East Wing, reopening a tunnel from the arena to the stadium playing field, a weight room, and space for training, offices, equipment, and more. Mark Wheeler, Director of Planning, Design, and Construction at MSU, said the changes will consolidate the football team into one primary space. Quote, "You need a home in order to recruit. You need a highly visible home," he says. A proposal to move forward on the first phase in the McDonald renovation, the scope of which will depend on how much funding has been raised at the time, is expected to go to the board September 16th. Work is to be completed by fall 2027. The athletics master plan includes a series of other proposed steps. A second phase of work at McDonald Arena for football with dedicated space for kinesiology and Reserve Officer Training Corps, or the ROTC program. Moving football out of Forsyth to free up training space for soccer, cross country, track and field, and other teams that use that space. Possible relocation of handball from Plaster Stadium to Hammond Student Center. Demolish and relocate the maintenance building next to the stadium, which would free up space for patrons and game day activities. Improve access, safety, and amenities at Plaster Stadium, including more seating on the north end zone to connect the east and west bleachers and add more premium seating. Quote, "If you look around the NFL or higher-level college football stadiums, the one thing that they're continually adding is premium seating, because that's where the money is," Ransdale said. He said changes to improve the stadium flow and connect and refurbish different parts of the structure will make it easier to use all year. Ransdale said the football program set a revenue record in 2025 and is currently tracking ahead of last year's pace. He said fundraising has also grown, hitting $12.3 million for fiscal year 2026, more than double the prior year. In the presentation to the board, Ransdale said the goal is for football to generate more funding and for athletics to become more self-sustaining financially. He said the ability to move forward with projects will largely depend on private support. Quote, "We're going to continue to push the needle forward and get some of these projects knocked out," he said, "and then as we continue to generate more money, and you see this is a lot with other schools, the money generated goes right back into certain projects."
All right. From the Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Public Schools sets rules for AI in classrooms. Big topic at the moment. The subject of using artificial intelligence in the classroom was big enough for its own handbook. In addition to its usual student handbook, Springfield Public Schools has published a handbook, there we go, dedicated to the use of AI in the classroom by students, teachers, and administrators. There we go. The artificial intelligence handbook includes 36 pages of education guidelines and rules for how the omnipresent technology is used across the district. Its intent is to answer a growing number of questions from not only students and teachers, but also community members about how the tech is used. Bruce Douglas, Chief Information Officer for SPS, said the handbook was developed over the spring and summer, and this year using feedback from campus communities. We started with the focus groups at our high schools and we heard from students and teachers about what they are doing with AI, Douglas said. One of the key things we heard was that they were wanting clarity about how we use it and what do we use it for. What's the the guidance about how to be responsible that was critically clear. AI chatbots and assistants are becoming more and more used as tech companies place them into productivity apps. Students have turned to AI for assistance in homework, while teachers have turned to it for developing lesson plans and handling a growing amount of paperwork demands. That's what it is. They're able to download SPS AI handbook details how students and staff members can use the technology in a safe, ethical, and manner in their education. It also spells out how AI can be misused and outlines possible consequences. Students, for instance, could face referral, loss of technology privileges, and possible suspension for severe instances of misuse. Teachers could also face consequences such as administrative leave or employment termination for similar severe instances. An age limit now applies. Students younger than 14 will see apps only through teacher-led demonstrations. Older students can use district-approved tools at their own discretion, provided they have teachers' permission. The AI handbooks, rules, and guidelines are centered around 4 pillars: ethical and responsible use, which covers cheating and protecting people's privacy, use of critical thinking skills in order to verify generative results, remembering that humans are always the boss in projects and the ones who will be held accountable, and emphasizing AI as a tool or assistant, but not a substitute for actually doing the work. And that, okay. It also has sections for parents and other stakeholders that offer guidance on how to safely employ AI that students and protect privacy. Douglas said the AI handbook is in version 1.0 and is part of a bigger district-wide effort to ensure AI literacy. Portions of it will be highlighted throughout the school year, he said, and it will be updated regularly to reflect new developments. It represents a significant shift from last year when the district didn't have many policies in place aside from preventing most chatbots from being used on the school-issued devices. The district has hired Cole West, a former professor at Missouri State University, as its AI collaborator or coordinator. Douglas said West will work alongside the district's curriculum instruction team to evaluate which AI apps the district will allow students and teachers to use. Through its newly created Artificial Intelligence Academy, the handbook details how staff members will be trained, including taking a baseline safety course and attending future sessions about best practices. And the governance committee will offer guidelines and direction as the quick changing tech evolves. Douglas said the SPS studied other districts to get to its current guidelines. School districts are in all different places. This is obviously a hot topic, Douglas said. We looked at what others are doing. Some structures helped guide the conversation, but this was all informed by what SPS needs. What's this? Oh, that is the end of that one. Back to Dory.
All right. And from the Springfield News Leader, Springfield hosting 2 public input sessions on data center regulations. Springfieldians are going to have 2 opportunities in the next few weeks to weigh in on how the city approaches data centers. Springfield City Council posed a 120-day administrative delay on data center developments in late June. During this pause, city staff are evaluating a long-term policy framework to use when considering data center proposals in the future that will include input from the public. The city, alongside city utilities, will host 2 public engagement sessions. One on Thursday, August 27th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Doubletree by Hilton, 2431 North Glenstone Avenue. Tuesday, September 1st, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the Library Center's Hatch Auditorium, 4653 South Campbell Avenue. And we see a picture of protesters holding signs opposing artificial intelligence data centers. According to a city news release, the sessions will include attendees visiting information stations with rotating subject matter experts. Experts will provide information on potential regulations regarding data center water and electricity usage, sound and air quality, public safety, land use, and potential community benefits. Attendees will be able to ask questions, fill out comment cards, and take surveys on those topics. Information gathered at the sessions will be used to develop recommendations for the long-term policy designed to balance the protection of the public interest with responsible economic growth, the release noted. Attendees are encouraged to attend the full 2-hour session to provide feedback on all topic areas. Feedback can also be shared via email to city@springfieldmo.gov. A hotline with a voice mailbox will also be set up in the future. By the end of the 120-day period, any findings and recommendations would be presented to the Springfield Planning and Zoning Commission and Council for consideration. When Council discussed the 120 administrative delay, City Manager David Cameron said there has been a data center application submitted for an existing building with mixed-use zoning, according to previous news leader reporting. And Willard has named a new city administrator. The city of Willard has appointed Matthew Henry as its new city administrator, placing him in charge of overseeing daily municipal operations and helping guide future development efforts. The appointment announced by city officials, according to a community announcement. In the role, Henry will work with the mayor, board of aldermen, city staff, businesses, and residents as the city pursues strategic priorities and municipal service goals. Henry brings experience in local government administration and said that he was attracted to Willard's focus on growth and community engagement. I'm honored to accept the opportunity to serve as the city administrator for the city of Willard, Missouri, Henry said in the announcement. He said that public service and helping communities grow while maintaining their character have been priorities throughout his career. Willard's deep sense of community, commitment to responsible growth, and vision for the future made this an opportunity that I was excited to embrace, Henry said in the announcement. City officials said that Henry will oversee the administration of city operations while coordinating with elected leaders, staff members, businesses, and community stakeholders. According to the announcement, Henry cited Willard's location, economy, schools, and resident involvement as factors that draw him to the position. Quote, I was drawn to Willard because of its reputation as a thriving community that values both progress and quality of life, Henry said in the announcement. Next byline, priorities for city operations. Henry said that his initial priorities include supporting economic development efforts, maintaining and improving infrastructure, and promoting efficient and transparent city operations. As city administrator, my priorities will include supporting responsible economic development, maintaining and improving public infrastructure, and ensuring efficient and transparent city operations, Henry said in the announcement. He added that collaboration, fiscal responsibility, and long-term planning are key elements of successful communities. Looking ahead, Henry said that he plans to focus on strengthening public services, supporting business growth, addressing infrastructure needs, and preserving the qualities that residents value about the community. Looking ahead, I'm excited to work toward initiatives that strengthen public services, support local business growth, address future infrastructure needs, and preserve the community character that makes Willard a desirable place to call home, Henry said in the announcement. Henry said that his goal is to help position the city for future growth while maintaining services and opportunities for residents and businesses. Quote, I'm grateful for the confidence placed in me. I look forward to serving the citizens of Willard and helping shape an even stronger future for the community, Henry said in the announcement. Matt.
Okay, for a second. For the Springfield Data Citizen, library selects new officers, adds new members. The Springfield Greene County Library's Board of Trustees has added new members and elected its officers for the upcoming year. The board has 3 new members. We'll see if I can get these names right. Robert Giller, I believe, Pamela Hernandez, and Esther Owen. They replace Rachel Morrow, Stacy Penny, and Mary Ellen Wheeler, whose terms have completed. James Nivens and Mary Ellen Phelan were appointed to their second terms. In addition, the board, during a meeting on July 21st, apparently, chose its lineup of officers. Christopher Bozarth was named as president. Nivens was as vice president, Phelan as treasurer, and Carol Ann Robinette as secretary. Owen was chosen to lead the board's Programs, Services, and Technology Committee, and Giller was to lead the Buildings and Grounds Committee. Phelan, as treasurer, will chair the board's Finance and Personnel Committee. The board is comprised of 5 representatives chosen by the city of Springfield and 4 chosen by Greene County. Other board members include past president Aaron Jones and David Yancey, the city representatives. Giller, Neves, and Owen are county representatives and were chosen earlier this year by the Greene County Commission. Phelan and Hernandez are city appointments whose terms were approved recently by the Springfield City Council. Once appointed, board members serve 2 3-year terms. Among the new members, Giller is Director of Electronic Transmission and Distribution for City Utilities. Hernandez is the Regional Director for the Better Business Bureau, Springfield, and in 2009 founded the business Thrive Personal Fitness, which he closed in 2020, or two, hang on, what is that? Yeah, 2020. Owen is the Director of Community Sponsorships, Advertising, and Donations for the Ozark School District, and has also worked as a Development Director for Court-Appointed Special Advocate of Southwest Missouri, or that would be CASA for short, I believe. The board is responsible for its hiring and reviewing the director, setting library policies, and approving the annual budget. The library oversees 10 branches across the county, 5 of which are in Springfield. Reporters note, apparently this report has been edited to correct the spelling of a board member's name and the experience of another board member. Oops. Looks like that's the end of that one. Back to Dory.
Okay. And from the Springfield News Leader, Missouri ballot proposals blocked by SOS had enough signatures, records show. A couple of key points here. Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins denied two proposals a spot on the November ballot, despite them having the required signatures. The proposals include an amendment to limit legislative changes to voter-approved initiatives and a referendum on congressional redistricting. Court trials are scheduled to determine if the measures will ultimately appear on the ballot. The two proposals denied a spot on the November 3rd ballot by Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins have the required signatures. Data Hoskins has provided online shows. Cole County Circuit Judge Daniel Green was scheduled to hold a trial Tuesday afternoon, August 18th, on whether the proposal limiting legislative changes to Missouri to measures passed by initiative will be on the ballot as Amendment 6. Wednesday morning, August 19th, the trial will be held on whether Missourians will vote on a referendum on congressional redistricting that would be limited and as Proposition A if it is on the ballot. When he denied both a spot on the ballot, Hoskins refused to say whether either had the signatures necessary to make the ballot. He said he was not allowing them on the ballot because they violate the state constitution's limits on petitions seeking to place questions on the ballot. And what follows is a picture of Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins in a red blazer and white shirt speaking at a podium. A court filing from Hoskins' attorneys in the Amendment 6 case is the first time he has admitted to the proposal would qualify for the ballot if he had not found other reasons to block it. Amendment 6 needed signatures equal to 8% of the registered voters in 6 of the state's 8 congressional districts. The Secretary admits the referendum petition was signed by at least 8% of voters in 2/3 of Missouri's congressional districts. Hoskins' answer to the Amendment 6 lawsuit states, the Secretary denies that any of these signatures are relevant because the initiative petition is itself unconstitutional. In a news release, Benjamin Singer, co-founder of Respect Missouri Voters, the organization advocating for the proposed amendment, said the signature verification result shows Hoskins is blocking the initiative because he opposes it. The Secretary of State is responsible for reviewing signatures to certify a petition so the people of Missouri can be heard, Singer said. Politicians cannot simply disregard our century-old constitutional freedom to petition. The referendum petition needed signatures equal to 5% of the voters in 6 of the state's 8 congressional districts. The Political Action Committee that circulated the petitions, People Not Politicians, turned in 305,000 signatures in December and tracked the signature verification process. Last Monday, August 17th, Cole County Circuit Judge Christopher Limbaugh ruled that nearly 103,000 signatures gathered before October 14th were invalid. That decision upheld a determination by Hoskins that the petition could not be circulated until he had approved the form. None of those signatures were included in the batch checked by local election authorities, and the campaign's tracking showed the petition had the necessary signatures without them. The next byline, Amendment 6 issues. Amendment 6, if passed, would put heavy restrictions on the ability of lawmakers to alter state laws and constitutional amendments proposed by initiative and approved by voters. Any changes would have to obtain 80% support in the General Assembly and be ratified in a statewide vote. Currently, there are no restrictions on lawmakers altering or repealing laws passed by initiative. A majority of lawmakers in both chambers can propose changes in constitutional amendments, but those changes must also pass statewide. That happened in 2020 when voters approved changes to the terms of a legislative redistricting proposal passed by initiative in 2018. Amendment 3 on the November 3rd ballot seeks to overturn the abortion rights measure approved in 2024. Voters handed Republicans seeking to restrain the initiative process an historic defeat on August 4th. Amendment 4 received support from only 19.7% of voters, the 7th worst defeat of any constitutional amendment proposed since 1910. Amendment 4 would have required a majority vote in every congressional district to pass constitutional amendments by initiative. The Amendment 4 outcome reaffirms what we already know. Missouri voters are determined to protect their constitutional right to petition and have their voices heard, Singer said in the news release. The issues for Green this week, attorney Chuck Hatfield said in an interview August 17th, is whether Hoskins was correct when he said Amendment 6 unconstitutionally includes more than one subject, and whether he was within his authority to deny it a spot on the ballot. Hoskins does have a limited authority to decide if the initiative meets the single subject requirement, but Hatfield said he'll argue Hoskins is wrong. Hoskins says that Amendment 6 violates the single subject rule. I think he's saying it amends multiple articles, Hatfield said. It's not completely clear to me, but we're prepared to defend it on that basis. In his pretrial brief, Hatfield wrote that there is nothing in Amendment 6 that is unrelated. Other cases have shown that the single subject rule does not mean a proposal can do only one small thing, he wrote. The same logic applies here. Every section of the petition serves a single purpose, protecting citizen lawmaking power. In his answer, Hoskins also raises a potential federal constitutional issue. The Missouri Constitution's initiative power, the answer states, violates the federal Constitution's guarantee that every state has a, quote, Republican form of government. Hatfield said that is the first time he's seen a Missouri Attorney General's office filing that argues a portion of the Missouri Constitution violates the federal Constitution. He said it's an irrelevant point. That is what the court calls an unjustifiable political question, he said. And it is what Hoskins' answer says about the challenge to his disqualification of Amendment 6 from the November ballot. The lawsuit, quote, raises unjustifiable questions that this court has no jurisdiction to address, the filing states. Proposition A, if passed, would scuttle the gerrymandered congressional redistricting plan forced through by Republicans in a 2025 special session. Hoskins denied the referendum a spot on the ballot because he said it's an improper use of the Missouri Constitution's provisions subjecting any act of the General Assembly to a statewide vote if sufficient signatures are gathered in the allowed time. The issues for Green and the subsequent appeal to the Missouri Supreme Court are far more complex than the ones involved in Amendment 6. If the courts reverse Hoskins and a referendum occurs, the following questions must be answered. What district boundaries will be used for the November election? Are the nominees selected in the August 4th primary the legal nominees that the district revert to the previous map? The boundaries of 6 of Missouri's 8 districts changed in the map passed in 2025. And what are the limits of the Secretary of State's power to interpret the state and federal constitutions to determine if a ballot measure is legal? To convince the courts to uphold Hoskins, the state will argue that a redistricting law is a special kind of law that is unlike most new enactments. The most recent referendum on right to work asked voters to decide whether a law establishing policies for unionized workplaces would take effect. Like most laws, it was a change in state policy that had a specific effective date. A law establishing a congressional map commits candidates and political parties to major expenses targeting a specific geographic area. Implementation takes place over the year of the first election held under the map. There are 2 exceptions to the referendum power in Missouri's Constitution. No referendum can be held on a law enacted in response to an emergency, and no referendum can be held on an appropriation bill. The section stating those exceptions does not need to include a specific ban on redistricting laws, said Lou Capuzzo, Solicitor General, in an interview with The Independent. The U.S. Constitution gives power to redistrict to legislatures, and the people cannot assume that authority without a specific allowance, he said. Silence is not good enough, Capuzzo said. You have to be sure that Missourians actually made the conscious choice to transfer the redistricting power from the General Assembly to depart from the rules set by the U.S. Constitution. The silence on redistricting will be interpreted by the courts to mean a referendum is allowed, said Hatfield, who also represents people, not politicians. A referendum on a redistricting plan was held in 1922, when voters rejected the plan drawn by lawmakers. Missouri retained the previously used map and did not redistrict again until 1933. The precedent of a 1922 referendum should be enough, Hatfield said. And the way Missouri courts read the law also favors referendum, he said. With the example of a long period without redistricting in mind, the State Constitutional Convention that met in 1944 inserted language requiring that lawmakers produce a congressional plan after every census. And with the example of the referendum in 1922, Hatfield said the drafters could have included a ban on redistricting referenda, but chose not to. They clearly could have restricted it, but instead the Constitution says, quote, any act of the General Assembly, Hatfield said. If the courts agree with people, not politicians, the questions about the election come next. The state will argue that court precedent, both at the federal and state level, mean that the election should be conducted in the districts used in the primary. It is too late to change. The federal principle was established in a 2006 case from Arizona, where the U.S. Supreme Court found that an injunction blocking use of a voter ID law came too close to the election. The Missouri principle was established in a 1970 case where the Missouri Supreme Court found that it was too late to change the board district map for a Kansas City junior college after the boundaries were found to violate rules for equal population because candidates had already filed. Now that the primary has been held, Capuzzo said the general election must use the same districts. That's what happened in 1970, and he expects it to happen again. The Missouri Supreme Court said, quote, okay, yeah, that map is legal, but you still have to use it for the next election because candidate filing is almost over, and it's too late to make a change, Capuzzo said. The 1970 decision is useless as a precedent, Hatfield said. Congressional elections are different because no candidate is required to live in the boundaries of the district they represent, he said. The political parties are free to use the candidates nominated August 3rd. No one has filed a lawsuit to nullify the primary results, and it is not a question in the lawsuit that will be tried August 19th. The counter to the argument that it is too late to change anything is that Hoskins is the reason for the delay, Hatfield said. Quote, he caused this crisis on purpose, Hatfield said. The whole strategy from the beginning has been where we are right now. Delay, 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 and they'll then tell the court, oh, we delayed so long, you can't do anything about it. Matt?
For the Springfield Daily Citizen, police identify 62-year-old Springfield woman who died in motorcycle crash. August 17th, it was 2026 in Springfield, it looks like. Springfield police have identified the motorcyclist who died in Monday, August 17th crash as Robert Parker, 62, of Springfield. A 2020 Dodge Ram pickup driven by Melvin Summerfeld, 78, of Fordland, was eastbound on Kearney Street in the center lane and turned left to go north on Patterson at 9:14 a.m. Parker was riding a 2004 Yamaha motorcycle west on Kearney and hit the pickup as it turned according to a news release from the Springfield Police Department. Parker was transported to the hospital where she died. Parker's family was notified of her death. The circumstances of the crash are part of an ongoing investigation. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Springfield Police Department at 417-864-1810 or make an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers at 417-869-TIPS. And that would be 8477. Or online at contact at, what is that here? Ooh, I hate reading addresses. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, but you can find it if you need it. This was Springfield's, it was like 11th fatal motor vehicle crash in 2026, which resulted in 12 deaths so far, looks like. I think that would be, yeah, that's it for that one.
Okay. And we're broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store in Springfield, Missouri, 2713 North Kansas Expressway. You can find just amazing deals at the thrift store, which is open, by the way, Monday through Saturday from 9 to 6, including for veterans, a 25% discount every day. On Wednesdays, clothing is 50% off, and seniors 55 and older, 25% discount every Tuesday. Missouri child abuse investigators are overwhelmed as backlogs return. This is from the Springfield News Leader. Ashley Allen had worked nearly 4 years as a child abuse and neglect investigator for the Missouri Children's Division when she quit in April. Some days it seemed like the printer in her Jasper County office never stopped churning out reports from the state's child abuse and neglect hotline, Allen told The Independent. She'd get 2 or 3 reports each day, more if colleagues called out. Usually she had 24 hours to verify a child's safety. For emergencies, she had 3. Often she found herself driving across the county with little information to guide her search. Quote, I have a list of people to call and things to type, but I just got a 3-hour emergency, Allen said. Quote, I have to run to Reed's to go find a family with no address and no name. The thing was, she loved the work. She loved advocating for families, and she tried to go above and beyond to work with them to keep kids in their homes when it was safe. A punishing caseload and intensifying pressure to complete checklists and clear cases made the work overwhelming, Allen said. The day she quit, Allen said she felt so anxious she, quote, wanted to throw up. It's those emails like, wait, why haven't you done this yet? Allen said, I'm doing 10 other things, and I don't feel that this case is ready to close yet. The division measures its child abuse and neglect caseloads against a goal of no more than 15 open cases per worker at any given time, the same standard used by national organizations like the Child Welfare League of America to accredit state agencies. Allen had more than 30 open cases when she left. Allen's caseload is no longer unusual, and in parts of the state it would now count as light. And we see a picture of Ashley Allen of Joplin, who, as we are mentioning, just recently quit her job as an investigator for the Missouri Child's Division. For most of us, for most of 2025, data from the Missouri Department of Social Services showed fewer than 10 of the state's 46 judicial circuits averaged more than 15 open cases per worker at the end of the month. At the end of June this year, workers in 21 of Missouri's 46 circuits averaged more than 15 open cases, though that number decreased to 13 in July, the most recent month of available data. Workers in St. Louis County have had the highest average caseloads in the state each month this year. They averaged 89 open cases at the end of June, while St. Louis City workers averaged 55. At the end of July, the county figure had climbed to 97 and the city's to 58. As workers juggle more reports, it's taking them longer to clear cases, prolonging the division's intervention before a case is closed or referred to the court system. The number of circuits where the average time to close a report over the past 6 months exceeded 45 days more than quintupled, from 4 to 23 between January and July. In St. Louis County, the average case as of the end of July took 144 days, or about 4.5 months. State law requires the division to finish investigations within 45 days and allow more time only when state document a specific reason: a pending forensic test, a prosecutor's written certification, a witness who can't be reached. Even then, the law sets a hard limit: 90 days or 120 for reports involving sexual abuse. In St. Louis County, the average investigation took 144 days. Allen said that when the workers are spread too thin, it directly impacts children and families. You've got kids to see that may or may not be unsafe, but you don't get around to seeing them because of all the other things that you have to do, and it puts some families on the back burner, Allen said. And there are kids that are safe when we're pestering their families. Child's Division Director Sarah Smith declined an interview request from The Independent. She also declined to comment on submitted questions about current staff turnover rates, caseloads, and efforts to move children in foster care towards reunification or permanent placements, citing a legislative hearing scheduled for August 26th that will cover related topics. The division has struggled with staffing shortages and a high turnover for years. Both current and former employees interviewed by The Independent say the latest surge in caseloads is being compounded by something else: new rules and increasingly prescriptive policies that require more steps to move cases forward. Workers and supervisors said changes introduced over the past year and a half have added layers of consultation, checklists, and supervisory review while limiting their discretion in working with families. The result, they said, is that cases take longer to close even as workers are being asked to handle more of them. Next byline: workers don't know which way is up. In 2020, citing diminished state revenue due to the COVID-19 pandemic, then Governor Mike Parson cut 300 state jobs. Of those, 200 were in the Social Services Department. Almost 100 were in the Children's Division. Former Department of Social Services Acting Director Jennifer Tidball turned down a funding offer from the state Senate to help with staffing. With fewer investigators, turnover of frontline division staff, including investigators, foster care case managers, and hotline workers, reached 55% in fiscal year 2022, and staff in September 2022 told The Independent, quote, that this job is impossible. The number of backlog cases statewide surpassed 10,000 by September 2023, with more than 6,000 overdue cases in St. Louis alone. Lawmakers that year approved funding to add back 100 positions after former division director Daryl Missy pitched a plan to tap down caseloads and shift the division's focus towards preventing kids from going into foster care. By September 2024, division had cleared 80% of the backlog. At the end of fiscal year 2025, turnover among frontline division staff was 40%. The backlogs climbed back anyway, and not because the state stopped filling jobs. As of the end of November last year, only 79 positions across the division were vacant. The current state budget this year funds 1,781 field positions, which is the same as last year. Frontline staff interviewed by The Independent point to policy changes enacted over the last year and a half as a major reason cases are taking longer to move through the system. With caseloads and backlogs again mounting, the division is poised to restructure its abuse and neglect response team on September 1st, to place workers under more centralized state supervision, and create specialized career pathways. Changes will not add staff and, according to a January email from the division to the Independent, are intended to, quote, help retain workers and create a more tenured, experienced workforce. Ahead of the restructuring, workers said the division has rushed to tackle investigation backlogs by assigning experienced staff from other teams, including foster care case managers, to help with overdue cases, leaving those teams overextended. Daniel Johnston, a supervisor with the division, told the Independent the staff from his office who agreed to temporarily help with investigations earlier this year were asked to stay on as workers quit due to the workload and rapid policy changes. Johnson said he was speaking in an individual capacity because he did not have the permission to speak on behalf of the division. As more staff left and the state office did not allow us to replace them, they were asked to do more, Johnson said. The time workers spent on investigations, Johnson said, took them away from working with children and families to get permanency through reunification, adoption, or legal guardianship. Normally, those workers meet with children and their biological and foster families, providing services, helping families navigate legal processes, and making sure kids' needs are met while in state custody. I feel this need delayed cases by at least a few months, Johnson said. There were a little over 12,000 Missouri children in foster care at the end of June, according to state data. That's 11.4% less than September 2021, where the number of kids in foster care peaked at just over 14,000. But it's 14.4% more than a 5-year low of 11,000 in February 2025. The increase began roughly around the same time. The division was rewriting the policies that staff say were designed to keep children out of state custody. And we see a graph of Missouri foster care numbers on an upward trajectory since 2025. One current division employee said workers in their office have so many open cases they don't know which way is up. The employee spoke on condition of anonymity because they're not authorized to speak publicly and feared retaliation. I think that creates a more dangerous environment for children when you have investigators with 50 cases open and they can't remember what they've done from one case to the next. A statement from the department said the restructuring was based on staff feedback and is intended to better balance workloads, provide more focused training and support to team members, and create greater consistency in how we respond to children and families across Missouri. Parents who have experienced assessments or investigations by the division described frequent caseworker turnover and mixed messages due to miscommunication or changing policies. Angel Ornelius of Oakville in South St. Louis County, whose son was placed in foster care in August of 2025 because the state determined his medical needs weren't being met, told the Independent her son's caseworker confided to her she was planning to quit. Ornelius' son, who is still in foster care, has had several caseworkers. She told us she was going to quit because of how many cases were coming in. Ornelius said she went first from 10 cases as a new person, and so many people were coming in, she now had 50 cases at her desk. She said, I can't do this. Next byline reads restructuring. The restructuring is part of ongoing efforts by the Children's Division to address longstanding problems of staff turnover and high caseloads without increasing funding. In a January email to the Independent, the department described the creation of specialized teams as a way to maximize efficiency within currently allocated funding levels. Now, this has included the expansion of a team focusing on older foster youth and the launch in January of a critical investigations unit, which zeroes in on child fatalities and near fatalities due to alleged abuse or neglect. Right now, workers can be assigned any hotline report within their circuit, from an assessment to see if a family needs services to address safety concerns to an investigation involving criminal allegations and close cooperation with law enforcement. Starting in September, they'll start off focusing on family assessments and with experienced joint teams with specialties such as newborn assessments or sexual abuse investigations. And instead of reporting to supervisors in local offices, they'll answer to regional managers leading specialized teams. While staff said they hope the reorganization will lighten the workload, some said that without additional staff hires, they just don't see how it could. A November 2025 policy required workers to meet with a supervisor within 72 hours of a potential case of abuse or neglect being assigned, even when they determined children to be safe. The same memorandum induced 3 consult guides to structure the meetings and 4 checklists for supervisors to use when reviewing and submitting workers' reports to close cases. Those current division employees who spoke to the Independent on the condition of anonymity out of fear of retaliation pointed to changes last year to team decision-making meetings. The meetings brought other parents, division workers, the juvenile office, and guardians ad litem at major turning points in families' cases, prior to removals, after kids were moved into temporary placement with relatives, or when foster parents were struggling. The workers said the meetings, which included a neutral facilitator unfamiliar with the case, helped engage parents in safety planning and create stability in foster care. An August 2012 message alerted division staff they should no longer conduct the meetings prior to removing children from their homes, indicating they should continue to conduct the meetings within 10 days of a child being placed with a relative through a temporary alternative placement agreement, which is part of a 2020 state law. An April 2026 policy instructed workers to meet with a circuit manager, their boss's boss, whenever families scored at high or very high risk of future child abuse or neglect, according to a required risk assessment form, and they did not recommend either services or a child's removal from the home. Allen said the form can put families under unwarranted scrutiny. There's a lot of things held against families that put some families at high risk that really shouldn't be, Allen said. A point gets added to a family's risk score if a parent was abused or neglected as a child, or if the primary caretaker has a historic or current alcohol or drug problem. Families who've had previous encounters with the division are also scored at higher risk, even if past reports of abuse or neglect were not substantiated. They might be 20 years sober and clean now, Allen said, but for something that happened 20 years ago. Not everyone who tracks the division thinks more workers is the answer. Richard Wexler, executive director for the National Coalition for Child Protection Reform, said while he doesn't doubt that many workers are overwhelmed, he doesn't think the division needs more staff. Wexler, who disagreed with Missy's approach of hiring workers to reduce backlogs, said the state should invest in concrete assistance to alleviate poverty and services for families faced with substance use disorders or mental health conditions. And Wexler said that type of assistance should come from a separate state agency, leaving division workers to focus on families where those services weren't enough. That begins to ease your workloads, Wexler said, adding, give most workers the chance to do the job and they're more likely to stick around because they will not burn out the same way. Johnson, the supervisor with the division, said policies are making it harder to help children and families. Quote, leadership needs to give us the tools and staff to do quality work, trust our work, preserve the relationships local circuits have, and get rid of unnecessary barriers that inhibit our progress, Johnson said. Quote, I feel like they are doing the opposite of all that. Matt?
Since the barriers are starting to play soon, article about Missouri State here. I love this school. I love this town. Missouri State offensive lineman Matthew Green's family has deep Springfield roots. This is the fourth in a series of 9 Missouri State position previews ahead of its September 5th opener at Texas A&M, which I'll be listening to on the radio. Missouri State wasn't his first choice coming out of Colorado's, I believe it's Arapahoe High School, but Matthew Green knew plenty about the Springfield institution. Most of what the 6'5", 285-pound offensive guard learned about Missouri MSU before signing with UNLV didn't come from an ambitious recruiter. It came from his father, John Green, a former Missouri State and Springfield Public Schools guard himself, point guard, so basketball. Before the elder Green shared a Bears roster with future NBA figure Winston Garland during the 1985-1986 season. He was both a hoops and tennis standout at Kickapoo and Glendale high schools. 40 years later, Matthew Green is the lone returning starter from an MSU offensive line that reached the Xbox Bowl and the program's Football Bowl subdivision debut. I love this school. I love this town, said Green, who transferred from UNLV in 2025 after 2 seasons at UNLV as the Bears made the jump from FCS to FBS. I love this whole coaching staff. New MSU offensive line coach. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I press that guy's name. Has come in and brought the group together. Where's the next little part here? He asked for MSU assistant offensive line coach who, former MSU offensive coordinator Casey Woods to MSU, has had the choice of piecing together a new look offensive line. Green, who started 6 games in 2025, has been the anchor. He's done a good job for setting the culture, playing hard, showing guys the right way, he said. Green, who occupies the starting right guard slot in August camp. He loves this program. The Missouri State lost veteran starter. Graduation and Cash Hudson to South Florida. Okay. Oh yeah, these guys and some other guys from South Carolina. I know these names if I hear them, I just can't pronounce them. The other guy went to Coastal Carolina. I know it from the radio, but I cannot. I've never seen these names. I'm sorry, guys. From a unit that did enough to help the Bears to back-to-back winning seasons, but had its troubles. 53 surrendered sacks and 112 tackles for loss in 2025. Much of Missouri State's new look offensive line are transfers, including Richard freshman left tackle. I hope that's right. King Large. I'm not sure. 6'4", 316 pounds from SMU. Okay. Center Elijah. Villanova or something. 6'3", 300 pounds for FCS Jackson State. Oh, same conference. Right tackle Sebastian Moza, 6'6", 300 pounds from Huddersfield Junior College in the past Joplin. And Work Dixon, apparently. 6'3", 280 pounds from FCS Virginia Military Institute. I think that's VMI, if I remember right. Where is the next part here? Just a sec. These pictures. Okay. We wanted guys who played a lot football, which allows you to troubleshoot and solve in game. Like that, he said. We went after guys who had physical traits and or tools we didn't have. Green right tackle, Braden Thompson, 6'8", 320 pounds. Right guard, Ryan Mitchell, 6'3", 285 pounds. And the versatile, I cannot pronounce his name at all, I'm sorry, 6'6", 310 pounds make up the returners who've figured in the Bears' primary offensive line rotation in August camp. He believes that he has 8 players he trusts can start or at least consistently rotate, and is seeking 3 to 4 more reliable depth pieces heading in to the season opener. In coach Casey Woods, up-tempo non-huddle system. Interesting. Rotation is key. We're a longer group. We're all pretty tall, Green said. Last year we were tall too, so it's nice to have some big dudes out there, especially on the edges. Green said MSU will look to establish the run game early and look to protect whichever quarterback is on the field when it's time for pass protection. Smaller, shiftier Skylar Locklear, 5'11", 195 pounds from UTEP, who was in the conference, who's now left, or the 6'3", 215-pound Henry Billen from Duke. What's a big name? Big school. Starter has not yet been named. We love the challenge. We're a rough group. We love to compete, Green said. The coach is hard on us in a good way. We'll attack the challenge for sure. Watch Missouri State offensive line, MSU offensive line coach, and right guard Matthew Green talked to Citizen. I guess it's about I guess today apparently. That is it for that one. So stay tuned for the season and tune to your radios if you're not near TV. I would hear the games. So go Bears!
That's right. Go Bears!
And Thursday there's a big party if you want to go look at have stuff going on over there.
Oh really? Oh okay.
Boomers Block Party. If you guys want to go, it's at MSU. You can go find out about it. But that's going on Thursday if you want to do more Bears things.
That's right. Put on your sunscreen and head over there.
I think it's like 5:30 onwards.
5:30. Okay.
It won't be too bad.
Probably Bears Village. You think?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's where it's at. So.
Well, talking about other events, in case you hadn't heard, Silver Dollar City is debuting a new coaster in 2027, and it's called Miners Mountain Express. And we see an artist rendering here of the coaster, and it looks like there's a miner in the front with his lantern, and we see an oil. It looks very exciting and very rugged and everything. So. Miners Mountain Express is coming to Silver Dollar City, officials announced. The roller coaster set to be open for visitors at the start of the 2027 season is being called the longest family coaster in the Midwest by park officials. A video introducing the ride emphasized two peaks, unusual in coasters, according to Maximilian Roscher, head of marketing for design firm Mack Rides GmbH of Waldridge, Germany. The video boasted, quote, views that shine like gold. With every twist and turn, families become storytellers, the promotional video said. Rosser agreed in an interview that the views are the distinguishing element of the coaster. Look at this view right now, he said, gesturing to the Ozark Hills from the construction site. We set up so many rides in parking lots, but this, oh my gosh, you can't beat it. Rosser said a family coaster lacks some of the features of a regular ride with no upside-down turns. There is a slow, steep incline followed by a rush through the mountains, he said. It also has the unusual feature of a tunnel with bats in it, he said. Spoiler alert, it's really crazy. Rosser emphasized that a family ride is not a kiddie coaster. This will be a thrilling ride, he said. Everybody who wants to ride will feel the adrenaline and feel the rush of speed, but still you're not scared of the ride. You want to re-ride and re-ride and re-ride again. The 250-year-old Mack Rides company previously built the River Blast and Time Traveler rides at Silver Dollar City. Brad Thomas, president of Silver Dollar City, said in the announcement of the new attraction that it is part of a $150 million improvements to launch in spring of 2027, including Silver Dollar City Resort. In all, some $500 million worth of improvements are planned. It's $150 million in investment because Silver Dollar City believes in the future of these Ozark Mountains, Thomas said. He said that every year the park gets visitors from all 50 states and at least 6 countries. The ride is described as a mine train adventure dug from Ozark's history. Riders occupy mine cars and head off in search of a lost entrance to Marvel Cave, according to the official overview. And along the way, they dodge obstacles and enter a flooded mine shaft. The ride is more than half a mile in length at 3,553 feet. Ride time, 3 minutes, 18 seconds, and includes an advertised 15 moments of weightlessness. business. Wow.
Mm.
The Marvel Cave Mining Company operated on the site of Silver Dollar City 145 years ago, the description states, adding that the head frame topping the ride is an authentic head frame from an actual Missouri mine.
Oh.
Missouri's Mountain Express will be replacing Thunderation, which has operated at Silver Dollar City for 33 years and will be closing on January 2nd, 2022.
Oh, I'm gonna miss that ride.
Yeah.
Does it show a drawing of the ride yet? Does it show anything?
The new miners ride?
Yeah, I didn't know if it had like a diagram of
Yeah,
what
they have an artist rendering of it here.
what does
so,
it look like.
it's wooden. I mean, so they're definitely with the times, and they've got a guy
Okay.
in the front as a miner, like leading the way, and
Oh.
looks like some mountains, and like they're cutting through the countryside, and
Oh, but
everything,
not like
so-
not like a diagram of the coaster track
no,
yet.
not that
Okay.
yet. No.
Okay, just thought I would check while we're doing that. From the People Daily Citizen. Matter of fact, this is my former my high school alma mater. It turns out, with a stable of talent around him, New Glendale quarterback Will Ross looks to keep Glendale's offensive buzzing. While many think of an offense mesh concept, they're thinking of shallow overleaping routes for pass happy Glendale. Meshing is also taking on a literal meaning. Headlined by Class 5's most prolific receiving tandem in Joel Rover and Trevor Hammond, I believe, Division 1 recruits who combined for 2,335 receiving yards and 20 receiving touchdowns in 2026. The Falcons are mixing a group with proven skill players with a new starting quarterback and newcomers along the offensive line. Gunn is 3-year starter and graduated Newberry. Looks like 7,197 career passing yards, 65 touchdowns. In his junior, Will Ross, who gained valuable playing time in 2025 when Newberry was injured, racking up 183 yards and 5 touchdowns on 71 completions in the process. I guess it's some kind of photo for him of some kind. I passed it, I think. Hang on. Darn photos. Hang on a second. Trying to find it. Not sure here what's going on. Oh, I guess not. Okay. Russ is a really hard worker, said Hammond, who, like Rover, is receiving Division 1 FBS and FCS recruiting interest, including from nearby Missouri State. He's a really great guy to be behind and get behind. He goes to the field with us a lot and throws, so we definitely have a good connection, and we all believe in him. Third-year Glendale head coach Craig Sherriston looking to build off last year's 6-5 season. The district semifinal appearance agreed. The guys love Ross. He's got some natural leadership abilities, and that's what you want out of your quarterbacks, he said. I think the biggest growth he needs to make is quick decisions. We don't have a ton of experience up front, but you don't want to be an excuse, so we just got to change that a little bit. And he will. He's gotten better every practice. That is an actual picture. Hang on. Him is emphasized with the young offensive line's development. We're looking really fast this year, he said. He also fielding offers from Missouri State, the assassin guy, NCAA, the FCS, Seaman on Dartmouth, in addition to many other college programs. Our line's looking good. They're young, but they're improving very fast. Glenn also returns the running back tandem of Samarai Pickett and Cam Majors, who combined for more than 800 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns last season. They're good players. That's the first thing that comes to mind. It's enjoyable to coach the seniors, he said. At the same time, the challenge is, are you content? Like, okay, we're having senior year, let's just have fun. That's fine. We want to have fun, but we want to push the envelope at getting better. We don't want to be just content. Rover noted the new additions have filled gaps left by the seniors who just graduated. It's been meshing well, said Rover, who's earned interest from multiple NCAA Division I American Conference programs like Tulane and the University of South Florida. We've got most of our varsity receiver core from last year coming back. New faces on O-line and new faces on defensive. Players that developed last year have stepped into new roles, and it's looking really good for this season. Glendale opens its season at home against Central Ozarks Conference for Webb City on August 28th. Watch Glendale Falcons football. Looks like head coach and center, okay, receiver, okay, gives all the people's names. Speaking to the media there. Have to keep track of that. In the article, I just wish it was easier to get radio of high school sports around here. I've never had a good luck with that. Just seems to be whatever games they want to pick. So I will do my best to keep up with that, because that sounds really exciting, because they were not good when I was there. So I'd like to see them do well. We were
wait until you graduate.
all 4 years from 01 or from 98 to 01, they were terrible. So unfortunately, but I know those guys are doing other things now.
That's
so.
right.
We had a reunion a few weeks back, a month or so ago. So
All
I got
right.
to
So yes,
catch
go
up.
Falcons.
Go
We'll say
Falcons,
that.
and go all the high schools.
You bet. All the high schools.
See what else we got with Dory here.
All
And I'll
right.
keep looking for more.
Well, okay, sounds good. Trump, this in national news, Trump says he will be meeting this year with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. President Donald Trump said he plans to meet with Kim Jong-un of North Korea later this year, as the president signaled plans to revive his first-term push for the North Korean leader to abandon his country's nuclear weapons program. Yeah, I will be, Trump told reporters just today, August 19th, when asked whether he expects to meet Kim later this year. Trump in recent days has tooted his relationship with Kim and directed the Pentagon to scale back joint military exercises with South Korea, a U.S. ally that he has pressed to pay more for its defense. The fact that I get along with them, that's a good thing, not a bad thing, Trump said. He has 57 very powerful nuclear weapons, should have never allowed it to happen. If I was president, I wouldn't have allowed it to happen, but he's got them. And we see a picture here of the two world leaders meeting. This is a picture that was taken back in June of 2019 in a demilitarized zone. The two men shaking hands, surrounded by a couple of male reporters taking pictures and video. The Wall Street Journal reported Trump has privately discussed a face-to-face meeting with Kim at the Asia Pacific Economic Corporation in China, set for November 18th and 19th. It would be Trump's first meeting with the North Korean leader of his second term. Trump met 3 times with Kim during his first term, each controversially, without setting preconditions, including once at the Korean demilitarized zone, in which Trump briefly stepped across the military demarcation line into North Korea. Trump's diplomatic efforts, however, failed to result in Kim reducing his country's arsenal of nuclear weapons. And in a story a little closer to home, Marabella Groundbreaking will be launching a major Ozark development. A major development, Ozark, is set to begin construction with a groundbreaking ceremony at 10:30, August 20th, 6201 Farmer Branch Road. Community leaders, elected officials, chamber members, project partners, media representatives, and residents are invited to attend, according to a community announcement. Known as Marabella, the project is planned as a multi-phase community near Highway 65 in downtown Ozark. The development received unanimous approval from the Ozark Board of Aldermen November 3rd and is designed to include housing, recreation amenities, trails, and commercial space. Plans call for 18 development phases, including 15 phases of single-family housing with 536 residential lots. The project also includes 1 townhome phase, 1 multifamily phase limited to 3 stories, and 1 neighborhood commercial phase. Developers plan to preserve just a little over 48 acres, about 21% of the property, as permanent green space. That total includes 44.56 acres of open space and 3.63 acres dedicated to recreation facilities. The community will also be featuring 4.3 miles of public and private trails, including a connection to the Chadwick Flyer Trail system. Amenities are expected to include neighborhood playgrounds, gathering areas, along with the central community hub known as the Commons. Plans for that area include a 6,000 square foot pool with waterfalls and a splash pad, 2,400 square foot clubhouse, covered pavilion, sports courts, and additional recreation space. Project leaders said that the development is expected to create housing opportunities and generate economic activity as Ozark continues to grow. Marabella reflects our belief that exceptional communities are created by combining thoughtful planning, outstanding amenities, and plenty of natural space, Mark Trigg, Director of Development, said in the announcement. Our vision is to create a community where people can truly enjoy every stage of life. The Ozark Chamber of Commerce, with assistance from Show Me Christian County, will host the groundbreaking ceremony. Quote, a development such as this is vital to the continued economic growth in the Ozark community by providing housing for families and potential new workforce for the community, plus the influx of possible retail and commercial development. Chris Russell, President and CEO of the Ozark Chamber of Commerce, said in the announcement. Matt?
Try to read some of this. Speaking of Cardinals, looks like there's a new guy here. After shock of trade, new Cardinals prospect Josiah Ragsdale makes an impact on Springfield lineup. A top prospect in the Milwaukee Brewers organization, Josiah Ragsdale is adjusting to Springfield after he was involved in a recent trade. Of course, Lindell Scranton, of course, did this one. This art doesn't work as well as others. Hang on. Jose Rex knew the trade deadline was near, but didn't give it a lot of thought. One of the Milwaukee Brewers' top minor league prospects, Ragsdale, was going about his business in Biloxi and the AA Southern League. And during the team's day off on August 3rd, the 22-year-old center fielder got a phone call that his life's upside down. Part of a trade with St. Louis for pitchers Dustin May and JoJo Romero, I think. Ragsdale was told to expect a call from the Cardinals with instructions on reporting to San Antonio the next day. I was shocked, honestly, Ragsdale said earlier this week prior to his first game for Springfield at Route 66 Stadium. I didn't even finish my first full year with the Brewers, so it was kind of shocking, but it's a business, so I understand. So instead of dreaming of getting to the big leagues with Milwaukee, Ragsdale's focus turns to getting there with one of the Brewers' National League Central Division rivals. I didn't take long to impress teammates, fans, and brass in his new organization. Ragsdale hit a home run in the first Springfield at bat, then added another a couple of nights later in the series at San Antonio. Where is the next part? Okay. He's fun to watch, said Springfield bench coach Danny Black. He managed the team at San Antonio as Patrick Anderson had the week off. I mean, he came right out the chute, hit a homer in that first game, which was awesome. Black described the 6 foot, 185-pound Ragsdale as super athletic. He could do a lot of things around the field. It's eye-opening, and just getting a player like that, just seeing how he moves, how he goes about the business and plays the game. It's got to be a lot of fun watching him. Or going to be, I guess. Ragsdale, a rare combination of speed, 31 out of 34 stolen bases with this season with 3 teams, and power, 21 home runs and 54 RBIs is a part of the commitment to the rebuilding the St. Louis farm system. This last summer, 13 of the 25 players on the Springfield roster are new to the organization, acquired via trade or draft. Past that. Okay. Ragsdale checks in at number 10 on the MLB Past Line's top 30 Cardinal minor league prospects after ranking 22nd with Milwaukee. Competition to keep climbing towards St. Louis is going to be fierce over the next couple of seasons. It's fun to be a part of a group with so many talented young players, Ragsdale said, adding that home run in the first Springfield at bat was a thriller. It's definitely a deep lineup with a lot of prospects. The left-handed hitter Ragsdale, 7th round draft choice out of Boston College in 2025, has ridden a power surge after no home runs and 9 steals in 21 games at Low A Carolina in 2025. He credits off-season work on the lower half of his body and swinging mechanics as the biggest key to unlocking the pop. There's a lot of bat speed there, Black said. I haven't got too much into hitting on my side with him yet, but he's focused on staying in the zone. It's getting off his bench swing in his winding, and he's doing a great job with that. More picture things. Okay. While his week's home series against Northwest Arkansas saw him with one hit in the first two games, and with the series, his overall numbers are impressive. In 114 games through August 13th, Ragsdale is hitting a combined .306 with a 1.1 OPS. I'm not quite sure what that rating is. On base plus slugging average. I think just keeping both in mind, Rags just said, with the balance of speed and power, just knowing what I can do at the plate and on the bases as well. Just doing my job. Coming with Ragsdale to the Cardinals from the Brewers was Alexander Fares, an 18-year-old outfielder, ranked number 4 on the prospect list. Fares is playing at High A Peoria, and would projected to be with Springfield in 2027. It's an exciting time for Cardinals fans who enjoy watching young players develop with Springfield ground zero. I think that is it for that one. Exciting stuff coming up for the Cardinals in Springfield.
Yeah. And we'll kind of keep on our sports theme here from the Springfield News Leader. Missouri State football to welcome Sam Houston State and Media Company in 2026. A media company will be traveling with Conference USA's Sam Houston State to Missouri State this fall. Snapback Sports was announced as the Bearcats jersey patch sponsor on Monday, August 17th. The Bearcats are the second CUSA team to bolster a jersey patch. New Mexico State inked a deal with a resort called Inn of the Mountain Gods. Across all of its social media channels, Snapback Sports has over 2 million followers, with the majority of its content centered around college football. As part of the deal, Snapback Sports will produce over 50 pieces of content for the team. Snapback Sports will also accompany the Bearcats on a road game. Snapback Sports will join the Bearcats to their midweek clash against Missouri State on August 27th. Then we'll fly with the team to Missouri State on Sunday night or Monday morning because it's a Tuesday game, says Snapback Sports founder Jack Settleman. He said on X, Settleman will be on Sam Houston State's plane, bus, and hotel for the game against the Bears. They'll be creating behind-the-scenes content during this road trip. Along with Settleman, Snapback Sports signed former Wisconsin All-American running back Melvin Gordon, too. This group will have a first-row seat in Plaster Stadium during Casey Wood's first year in charge of the Bears. Snapback Sports paid $100,000 to have its logo on Sam Houston State's jersey for one season. Interesting. And in other sports and fashion news, it doesn't stop. You can gear up for football with the new Abercrombie & Fitch NFL collection. And we see 3 very nice-looking male models demonstrating modeling some of the attire. Also a Philadelphia Eagles, boo, sleeveless sweatshirt, and also another sweatshirt with the Cincinnati Bengals logo and patches, etc. A couple of key points here. The Abercrombie & Fitch NFL collection just dropped ahead of the season, and the drop features t-shirts, fleece, activewear, and more for all 32 NFL teams. The NFL season is nearly here as preseason games are becoming the weekly norm and fantasy football drafting is underway. It's around this time every August when you might be shopping for new gear to rep during the season. And regardless if your team is a Super Bowl favorite or competing for the number 1 overall pick in next year's draft, staying up to date on team fashion is a must. And before you start your spending spree, one of the top lifestyle brands, Abercrombie & Fitch, has just dropped their NFL collection for the 2026 season, and it is deep. The collection is full of t-shirts, fleece, and activewear for all 32 NFL teams. As you're shopping, keep in mind that new styles will also be coming as the season progresses to help bring in fall as well. And you can check out that gear again. It's going to be available for all 32 NFL teams. So exciting stuff there.
Those are pricey.
Yeah, I imagine so. Put that NFL on there and boom,
Oh, I know.
$30.
Rack up the price,
Yep.
man.
And also, in case you hadn't heard, and for you rodeo fans, Missouri Thunder is returning to Ridgedale for PBR Thunder Days. And the Missouri Thunder will be returning to Thunder Ridge Nature Arena for 3 days of professional bull riders team competition, live music, family activities. This is set for September 4th through the 6th. General public tickets for Bass Pro Shops PBR Thunder Days, presented by DoorDash, are on sale now, according to a community announcement. The event will bring all 10 PBR Teams League franchises to Ridgedale for head-to-head competition at the outdoor arena near Big Cedar Lodge. Weekend is also going to be featuring, I've seen the billboards already. Concerts by Chris Jansen.
I think I heard on the radio too.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have. Chris Jansen's going to be performing, and Miranda Lambert.
Oh, boy.
Jansen is set to perform following the September 4th competition, and Lambert will be highlighting a concert which will be held after the September 5th event. Now, tickets are available through pbr.com. ThunderRidgeNatureArena.com. Organizers are also offering 3-day ticket packages. And the next byline is concerts and family activities. In addition to bull riding and concerts, attendees, you can visit a fan zone with interactive attractions and entertainment geared toward families and children. The Missouri Thunder joined the PBR Teams League during its inaugural 2022 season. The franchise, led by General Manager Luke Snyder and head coach Ross Coleman, according to the announcement. The team's roster includes Kabul native Maverick Smith, brothers Paolo Eduardo Rosetto and Angelo Jr. Rosetto, Felipe Furlan, Macaulay Leather, and Katie Madsen. Quote, "We are proud to bring PBR teams back to Thunder Ridge to offer teams so much more than a sporting event," Snyder said in the announcement. "This is a destination weekend where world-class bull riding, hometown team pride, incredible live music, and the beauty of the Ozarks all come together to create an experience that fans will remember long after that final ride." Again, the event schedule, competition scheduled to begin 7:45 p.m. on September 4th, 6:45 p.m. on September 5th, and 2:15 September 6th, Thunder Ridge Nature Arena, 1901 State Highway 86 in Ridgedale, Missouri. All right.
Good crowd for that.
Yeah.
But the weather's good too.
Hope so. Maybe just a little, not quite as hot. That would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And repeating, this is from the Springfield Business Journal, repeating again that Sheriff Jim Arnott has resigned and an interim replacement has been named. The sheriff tendered his resignation from county office following his announcement by President Donald Trump to the role of U.S. Marshal for Western Missouri for a term of 4 years. Arnott's nomination was confirmed by the U.S. Senate August 7th by a 51-47 vote, according to online congressional records, with both of Missouri's U.S. senators voting in favor of confirmation. Arnott's resignation took place at 4 p.m. On August 18th. Arnott was selected to a 4-year term, his 5th as sheriff in 2024, but has chosen to leave the position early for the federal role. Now, taking over as interim Greene County Sheriff is Sheriff's Office Captain Jason Johnson. With an interim appointment running through December 31st of this year, voters will be asked to decide on a sheriff in the November general election, and Johnson is the sole candidate. The election will fill Arnott's expired term, which runs through December 31st of 2028. Sheriff's salary is set at $134,266, according to the commission. Arnott said in an interview that he has been completing onboarding to his new role, but has not yet begun the work. Arnott's resignation and the appointment of an interim replacement were the business of the Greene County Commission in a 9:30 a.m. meeting. That meeting was disrupted by protesters opposing detention of U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement prisoners in the Greene County Jail. About a dozen members of the Immigrant Justice Collaborative protested outdoors at Cox Medical Tower, which houses the commission offices on the 10th floor, before the commission meeting, and they gathered in the meeting room and its overflow space during the proceedings. As Johnson began remarks accepting his interim appointment, the group broke into a chant, "No ICE, no way," in the contract here today. Greene County Presiding Commissioner Bob Dixon ejected the protesters from the meeting and closed the door. In a written set of talking points, Miles Pearson, co-founder of the Immigrant Justice Collaborative, said the sheriff has spent $17 million in taxpayer dollars to detain and deport 5,000 people for ICE since the start of 2025, and fewer than 3% of detainees have charges listed on their arrest record. And that is going to wrap us up for today. We'd like to thank you so much for listening today to the Blind Community Thrift Store's radio reading service, and hope you'll be sure and tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on our YouTube channel beginning at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. And remember, we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. with all broadcasts played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves, 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can contact the Audio Reader Network for more information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And we also hope you'll make time soon to check out the thrift store for some great deals, including 50% on clothing on Wednesdays.